you guys doing? This is kind of my view and recap of the first episode of WandaVision. I saw, I think, most of the series. I didn't see the last 2 or 3 episodes when they came out, and I want to kind of review it. I'm not going to go through all the Easter eggs because I really don't care. I'm going to just kind of review it as what I see and kind of remind me of when I grew up. And I'm kind of old, so I grew up in the 80s, and just remind me of some old TV series that I grew up watching, which are reruns of even older TV series. But we start off with Wanda and Vision apparently driving to Old Town. First thing you notice is black and white, and apparently it's in the 50s. And they are driving to an old town, or I guess a suburb, you can say that. And they just bought a house, and she kind of, I guess she was like, hey, I'm gonna buy this house. You know, she has her magic, and she wave her wand or whatever, and she bought the house. And Vision kind of carry her to the door, and then she's there in the wedding dress. So they're in the house, they're happy, and they got music, I think the 50s music playing in the background. And then you see them in the house, and the house is already decorated, and then they're talking, and they're thinking about something special. It's like, what's something special about today? And they look at the calendar, there's a heart shape on, I believe, August the 23rd is the day. Could be wrong. And then while they're talking, you have a neighbor knock on the door. It's Agnes. And she knocked on the door and said, hey, how you doing? I'm your neighbors. And she gave her, I believe, some kind of present. Say, here's welcome to the neighborhood. And I don't think we ever discover what's in the present. But so then Vision kind of has to go work, right? And Vision, changed his face to a regular person's face and went to work, right? And he went to work at some kind of computer place, and you'll see there's like a stack of some kind of paperwork. Apparently, I'm not sure exactly what they do. There's the in and out. It's old radio. The guy's playing radio, which is probably in the 50s. It's not a cubicle, open office. Probably nobody want to hear that. And the thing that's interesting is, I think that guy is Indian, I believe, which is kind of not expected in the 50s. I don't think there are a lot of Indian people in the U.S. in the 50s. But so he's there, and they're talking about, and the whole time they're trying to make fun of Vision as a computer or as a machine. And I think they're saying, oh, once you get here, we're 300% more efficient, and you're like a walking computer or something like that. And he's like, no, I'm not, or something. And then his boss come out. His boss is Mr. Hart. And then he was talking about, oh, there's something special today because, you're going to invite us to dinner, right? And then he basically say, oh, there's another guy that used to work here, and he got fired because I guess apparently he was invited to dinner, but the dinner wasn't that good. And that guy looked like the guy from Friends, except that this guy looked like he's a 50-year-old version of the guy from Friends. You know what I'm talking about, right? And then interesting is they have commercial break of a toaster, and the guy's talking about how good the toaster is. Toastmaster 2000, I believe, by Stark Industries. Stark is Tony Stark's father, apparently, essentially Iron Man. And so that's interesting. They have a commercial, and the commercial is about toaster, which remind me of RoboCop. You remember RoboCop? There was in between the movies, or in the movie itself, there are all these commercials about, and I think there was a car 3000, some kind of car 3000 version where they have this security system where you basically, somebody steal the car, they can't kill them, the car itself. The security system kind of fry them, right? So that reminded me of that. And of course, Hart's and his wife come to visit Wanda and Vision. And of course, there's a misunderstanding. Wanda's thinking that day is their anniversary, but that day is actually Vision inviting his boss over for dinner. So then Wanda kind of dress up in a nice outfit, viewing outfit back, I guess, in the 50s, and try to surprise what she think is Vision, but it's actually Mr. Hart. And then misunderstanding, and then basically Vision corrected her and said, "Oh, we're having dinner now. You gotta cook some dinner." She's like, "Oh no, she's never cooked dinner before. That's weird. She's a 1950 housewife, so she hasn't cooked dinner." But this is Wanda. She didn't grow up in the 50s, so then she changed her outfit into a 50 outfit for, I guess, night out, and she planned to cook dinner. And then Vision is trying to delay, buy some time so that she can cook. And kind of the weird thing is, you look at this couple, Mr. Hart and his wife. I forgot what his wife's name was. She looked kind of, I guess, Mr. Hart. Does he look like somebody in the 50s? Somebody in the 50s, I think back then it'd be thinner. This is probably, back in the 50s where you look at a sitcom, everybody's like nicely dressed, thin. They're not like overweight like Mr. Hart. And then the lady, yeah, she looks like a 1950 lady. The way she wear a lot of makeup on, lipsticks, and her hair, right? So the guy is not a 1950 type of person, but the lady is. And of course, surprise, surprise, somehow Agnes came by and said, "Hey, you want to cook dinner for your boss? Here's, some lobster and I think some chicken or something." And she's like, "Oh, here's all the stuff." And unfortunately for her, even though, she has all the ingredients, back in the 50s, I don't think they pre-cooked stuff. You can't just go to Costco or anywhere and get pre-cooked meal, right? There's no Uber Eats in the 50s, so you gotta get the ingredients and cook it yourself. But even with Agnes' help, Wanda, it's like, you got the ingredient, but she cook, right? So then Mr. Hart's wife was like, "Hey, you know what? I hear all these pots and pans in the kitchen. Wanda probably need help to make dinner, so let me try help her." Then she tried to go in there, but then I think Vision kind of distracted her by singing some kind of yakky yak song, and then she stopped going in there and listened to Vision, and then she opened the kind of countertop to the kitchen, and then she turned her back, and Wanda's like doing all these strange. Basically, she's bewitched. She essentially watched Bewitch, which I did. I think I watched it in WGN in the 80s, where they have reruns of Bewitch, and she's Bewitch is a witch, and she's always like moving stuff around, right? So similar to that, or similar to I Drew a Genie. I think I Drew a Genie was more layered than Bewitch. Bewitch was first, I believe. So Wanda is doing all this stuff, all the salt and peppers, and just some lobster, the chicken, they're all flying around. But then Mrs. Hart didn't see that because Vision is trying to distract her, right? And then eventually Vision's like, "Oh, let me check on my wife," and then Wanda's like, "Hey, you need help. Here's a meat tenderizer," and then tenderize the meat or steak, I guess. And then Agnes came by and said, "Hey, I forgot something. Here's a pineapple for your dessert, I guess." So then they kind of met her by the door. Distraction. Then eventually, Wanda said, "I have an idea." She's like, "Oh, let me make some breakfast as dinner." And then you see uh, the screen door kind of open from the kitchen. She kind of put all the plates, food, toast onto the dinner table and wine, everything, and they had kind of breakfast. And then the Mr. Hart's like, "Hey, you serving breakfast for dinner? That's weird." And Miss Hart said, "Oh, that's so European," which is, I've been to Europe. I don't think they serve breakfast for dinner, but they do have very good breakfast compared to the U.S. And then somehow Mr. Hart was choking during dinner, and Mr. Hart choked on some kind of piece of meat. And then Vision, it was weird. That moment was kind of a weird moment because Miss Hart she I feel like she was like a robot, and she just kind of like she kind of repeat the same thing over and over again, and it's like, oh, relax or calm down, to her husband, but then she's choking. So that was kind of a David Lynch moment, similar to Mulholland Drive, where the parents visit the actress that became a waitress, and the parents like all acting weird. Similar to this, like the couple acted weird. They kind of malfunction, right? Essentially. And so he's choking. Then Vision, that he fell over the ground. Vision kind of used his power to using his hand into the throat, or phase through the throat, and kind of took out the piece of meat and saved his boss from choking. And then eventually he's like, "Hey," his boss got up and said, "Hey, it's time to go. I guess it's time to go." And then Miss Hart kind of said, "Hey," I'm not sure why she covered Wanda's eyes. I'm leaving. I'm not sure what's the reference for. What was that reference? I probably missed that. But she's like, "I'm leaving," and then Mr. Hart's like, "Oh, hey, we gotta talk about your promotion next week." I'm like, "What?" It was like, what? It's like, I guess that was just a thing. Say, "Hey, you did okay. You didn't kill me. I guess you saved my life." He never thanked Vision for saving his life, which is kind of weird, right? So then they left. Vision and Wanda can sit down, and then he changed his face back to Vision, not the guy. And they were like, "Hey, you know what? We got married. We don't have a ring. We don't have an anniversary." So they're like, so somehow Wanda kind of made up this happy story where they got married. But then they don't remember anything about the marriage, the wedding days, I guess you can say that. And they barely remember the anniversary. Apparently, it's the anniversary, which means they've been married for a year, which is weird. And they don't remember anything about it. Then they don't have rings, so then Wanda's like, "Let's create a ring," and then she created 2 rings, one for him, one for her, on their fingers, and then that is kind of one thing I missed was that during the dinner, when they're sitting down, Miss Hart asked all these questions about, where you guys meet, where you get married, blah blah, and they don't remember anything. So which is, I guess because Wanda kind of made it up, and so it's almost like a classic tale of when you lie, and you don't know all the detail. When people ask you questions, you don't know all the details. You can't answer those questions because it's all a lie, right? So so at the end, they got the wedding and they're sitting down, like, "Hey, you know what? We survived first dinner with the boss." So then you see this closed caption of, "Hey, this is Wanda and Vision, and they have a happy smile." It's kind of like 1950 Leave It to Beaver, Bewitch. And then at the end, surprising is that, all this stuff, there's the credit rolling, and all this stuff was actually it's something that somebody else is seeing on a black and white TV, and you'll see the color. So somebody's actually recording this outside of WandaVision, where essentially they are watching this from the outside in black and white, the real world, I guess. So that's the end of the first episode. Cool. Like I say, I saw this like months ago, but going back, I'm probably gonna see the whole 9 episode, I guess 8 or 9 episode, and then I'll recap it, post it on YouTube. Okay. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.